All right, as we get started taking a look at our A+ hardware items, we're going to start with just a PC overview here, where we're getting just kind of a bird's eye view of the various types of components you can expect to see on a computer. We're not going to be addressing any of the peripherals, such as cameras or keyboard and even mouse. We're going to be looking really pretty much at the case itself and where things go. So we'll start with just a visual tour here of a computer case. And these are just going to be photographs that I have taken that will help to highlight to you some of the key areas of that computer. We'll start with the exterior case. Just want to show you where things go on the front end, back of the computer, how the door might attach to the case, things of this nature. Most things these days are going to be ATX style cases. We'll talk more about the various formats as we go later on, possibly. Then we'll also take a look, and this is important about that, at the ports and connectors. Now, this is not really case related so much as it is what we call motherboard related. Motherboard is kind of the central location where everything ultimately connects. Everything from your memory to the processor, hard drives, everything eventually goes to the motherboard, and that's where the ports and connectors will generally appear. But as far as the case is concerned, there will be slots or openings for these various ports or connectors that are on the motherboard. Then we'll take a look here at interior components as well. We probably won't spend a lot of time there, only because the specific items we'll be addressing for each one of those types of items we'll be looking at, like video cards and expansion cards and the like, they will have their own subject at a later point in time here. But we'll take a look at some of those various components and connectors here as well. Have you ever felt just a little disoriented? Maybe you were in a situation in which you weren't really quite sure of what the correct protocol was, or what you should do, or what you should say, or something like this. It's kind of like that with me every time I get dressed in the morning. You see, I am terrible at matching clothes. In fact, half the time I'll come downstairs and either my wife or my daughter is a little fashion maven, and my wife is very good with colors and things because she does interior decorating. And so she knows all of this stuff and what goes with what. And I'll come down and she'll say, well, that's a primary color with an earth tone. You shouldn't be wearing that. I have no idea what she's saying. Eventually, what she's actually done, she's actually gone into my closet and she's labeled different racks of clothing, you know, kind of like this goes with this. And so now I'm supposed to kind of match only according to whatever she's told me I'm supposed to wear. And ever since then, I've been, you know, pretty snappy, if I do say, a pretty snazzy dresser. But what can I say? I'm just sartorially challenged. I guess that's the big fancy word for people that know, you know, clothing or something like this. Anyway, it's kind of like that with computers as well. You might be a career changer. Maybe you've done something else all your life, or you're just getting started with PCs and you want to learn about the computer industry. You know, I'll start talking about a lot of different things in some depth. And if you don't already have some foundation in what these things are that I'm talking about, you might start to feel a little bit lost. So I want to take this first opportunity to take a look at many of the different components of a computer, at least on a visual inspection, so that you can kind of find your way around and not feel quite as lost as I do when I'm in the closet trying to pick out clothes in the morning. Now, as I show you some various photographs, these are just some photographs that I've taken of a system, and I do have photographic equipment. Many of you that may have taken some of my courses in the past know that I am also a photographer. The stuff that I've taken here is fairly simple. I haven't been too elaborate in my setup with this and everything, but I did want to show you some of the things that you might expect to see. So, for example, here is just a computer that I happen to have around. It's a fairly recent computer, so it should be pretty well up to date in terms of the things that you might expect to see. Here we have over, let me just kind of zoom in on this. Here we have over to the side a door that just swung open. Very often those doors can be locked. And if you look over here on the side, you can't really see it very well from this angle, but there's actually a lock there, so that if we wanted to lock that down, there's a circular key that we could use to do so. And then we also have here in the front, we just have a DVD and or CD-ROM drive up at the top. And sometimes you can't tell until you get a little bit closer. Some of them are not very well marked at all. This one, for example, is just a DVD player. That's why, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of faint there, because it doesn't stand out, but it's just a DVD-ROM. In other words, I can only play or read DVDs off of this. And we'll talk more about these various types of drive here in an upcoming nugget. We call videos in CBT Nuggets land, we call them nuggets. So in an upcoming nugget, you're going to see some more detail about that. This is just a low, I don't want to say low end, but it's an inexpensive. How about that? Okay, it's an inexpensive DVD RW drive. So this one's capable of reading and writing data to DVDs. Neither one of these are Blu-ray DVD readers or players or recorders. But anyway, I'll get into more detail, like I said, about those in a later nugget. But here you'll very often see these close to the top. And the reason why you see them close to the top, because if you'll notice that you could put it lower down here. There's a couple of blanks here where I could pop those out and move these two drives down here a little bit lower. But very often they're going to be at the top because a lot of people will keep their computers on the floor, under their desk or something like this, and it makes them a little bit easier to reach. And most of the time these blanks here are just pieces of plastic, and if you take off the case off the side, then you can reach around behind these and kind of pop them out. And sometimes there's also in the metal cage, there's a metal piece that you may have to twist out to pop that out, and that'll come out permanently, whereas this plastic blank could go back in if you decided to replace the drive later on or to remove the drive. For example, if I took this drive out, and then I wouldn't want just a gaping hole in here. I would want to take one of these blanks that I'd kept in my desk drawer somewhere or in a spare parts bin and put it back in there. Then this also is just a couple of LEDs.